Hello, here we have a Korbanth Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones, fully installed Proffie NeoPixel. Let me first review the features. We have two sets of pommel, one with holes, one without holes. Those are interchangeable. And we also have two sets of emitter caps, 7/8 inch, 1 inch. We'll go into more details on that in a bit. We have main power button as well as an auxiliary button. That added auxiliary button is a custom feature not included normally with the OWK Korbanth Hilt. So special modification was needed here to support a button. We had to drill a hole through the brass to run wires through. We also had to burr out under the gem is an actual button, and the gem is then glued to the top of the button. The accent LEDs are not wired themselves, but rather receive light via shine through from either the blade plug, or which has NeoPixels embedded inside of it, or a blade, and the light is allowed to shine through. To support that shine through feature, though, we can only support a 7-inch blade or blade plug, just due to the inner diameter here, where the NeoPixel PCB is recessed behind the accent LEDs, and at this point it's only 7/8 of an inch, where up here is 1 inch. Standard cover tech. Okay. So let's look at, I'll unscrew the pommel. Here we have a 20mm base speaker, and just a little tap allows the chassis to come out a little bit. So here's our charge port. You can see here's our Proffie USB. This chassis can slide about this far. We don't want to go too much more, or otherwise we'll start pulling on the wires. But as you can see, the Proffie is held down without glue, because in case you want to be able to get to the USB card or the USB, you'll have to undo this crafter's tape and then just lift the board up just a little bit. Right, there's enough give with the wires to allow this to come up a little bit so that you can get with a pair of needle nose pliers, get to the SD card that's under, or just lift it up enough in case you want to hook this into your computer, micro USB cable there. So try not to go too far. This is good. Preferably if you're just doing charging, you don't even need to take it out that much. So while this does not remove, we can unscrew the top. I'm not recommending that you do this. There really shouldn't be a need, but you never know in the future. So as you can see, I'm doing small turns. And just because the wires, right, are twisted together, what we want to do is maintain that. So I'm doing little, maybe quarter, half turns of both the emitter and the chassis, and that's just to keep those wires close enough, right, twisted and not over twisted. Okay, so here's your internals. There's your in-Hilt PCB, wires running to the power buttons and then back down into the chassis. That's about as much as I'd suggest anyone do, because again, there really shouldn't be a need to get in here. This is not a fully removable chassis, so I wouldn't suggest doing this. So to put it back on, I do the same thing. maybe quarter, half turns in the opposite direction. All right, so turn the top and then twist the chassis. Turn the top, twist the chassis. And that'll just make sure that the wires stay in their twisted state. Okay, and then we can push this back in. Get that emitter back on. I do have a kill key, so we can put in that recharge port. Okay, let's fire this guy up. So I'm going to demonstrate with a blade. Unfortunately, I have a 36-inch blade here. I just wanted to switch hands. It's getting caught on. Let me unscrew this a little bit. Of course, it has to give me a problem now, right? Okay. What's happening here is the set screw holes I'll have to shave on the inside. As you can see, what's happening is it's scratching the blade there. So I won't do it too much, just enough that I can set the blade in. Okay. Okay, so that's down enough. And then we have a set screw that we can use just to keep the blade in place. The blade is not included, although I can make you a blade. There's also places, Vader's Vault makes good blades. There's other blade makers on in the community. Okay, so okay, this is ProffieOS Ultra, which is a branch of the main Proffie operating system, and it just has some added features, mostly in the way of how you trigger effects with buttons. But the cool thing about this is the Negotiator font and DLC, which just adds.
A bit ambitious, aren't you?
He's not stopping.
So if you hold down that button, you get a main character response followed by the antagonist response, as you heard there. We can see the shine through coming through the accent LEDs, auxiliary button.
Missed me.
The other nice thing is you can play a music track if you hold down. It's a long power off. If you hold down the main power button for I think it's like 0.8 of a second, you get a music track. So 1. So that music can play in the background even while the saber's ignited. Okay. I'll cycle through the other fonts. This customer wanted me to add a specific set of fonts, which I accommodated. Single press on auxiliary will cycle through those fonts.
Young Ray.
These are mostly KSith fonts. This is a Ray. All the fonts have smooth swing. Sorry if the camera can't get all of this in the picture, in the frame. And I tried my best to put a music track. The Kylo Ren. Get a music track from the Last Jedi battle scene. Got an unstable blade effect. Hopefully this is coming through okay on the video. Yeah, that looks nice.
Luke Skywalker.
I added the Jabba's Palace scene.
Lord Vader.
Okay, now we're back to Rogue One Vader. The hallway scene. Getting the button click length or duration is a bit tricky. Kind of need to memorize how long you have to hold the button down for to activate or trigger certain effects.
The balance.
This is the balance, another ray font.
Light.
The light.
Vengeance.
Vengeance, which is a Darth Maul font. And of course you have to put Duel of the Fates on when you have a Darth Maul font.
Smooth Jedi.
And then Smooth Jedi, this is just a battery level indicator. As you can see, up here, fully charged. And as the battery gets consumed, the charge will come down. That's a nice little feature, but unfortunately you need a blade for that.
This is General Kenobi.
Okay, so let me take the blade out. I'll put the blade plug in. I won't run through all of them, but I will show you how we attach the blade plug. Excuse me. Okay. I'll have to sand down the inside of that just a little bit. Okay, so as we can see, this emitter cap has some set screw holes. As you can see, I marked where those holes are. So if the marks are not lined up, it means it's on the wrong side. So we just need to turn it. We got a line there. We got a line there. Those match up. So I try to get it positioned. Try to eyeball that. Okay. Probably hard to see, but on the video, just get it lined up. And the reason for the two holes, just get it started on both and get both set screws in. Not all the way yet. Okay. Now the reason for the 2 is just so that, as you can see, right, there's a little bit of wiggle there. We want shine through around that inner ring. And so I use the 2 set screws just to obviously hold the blade plug in place, but also just to make sure that they stay balanced. And you want the set screw in enough so that it's not sticking past those threads. That looks good. Okay, and now we can just slide this in and simply turn it on. Okay, doesn't have to go all the way. Actually, or probably the preference would be not to, because then it pushes, what it winds up doing is the emitter pushes down on this metal piece here, which pushes down into the accent LEDs, into the buttons. So it doesn't need to be tight, just, right? It ain't going anywhere. It's not going to unwind. Okay, and then we got shine through. Both the accent LEDs as well as the top. There's your smooth swing. I find, I don't know if you could see it there, I put a little piece of black tape there just to make sure that the button, the red button, that black tape is pointing down towards the pommel. We can remove the black tape, but I put it there because that's the position, right? This red button can turn, but I find that's the position where this red button works the best. So we can cycle through with the auxiliary.
Young Ray.
Quick press. Okay, so what I do for the music track, again, I just hold the red button, count to 1. 1. 1. Right, on and off. Quick 1 second. You have between, I think, 0.8 and 1.5 seconds to trigger. So a quick count to 1, and that's more than enough.
Luke Skywalker. Lord Vader.
The balance.
Okay. That should be it. Now, this is not necessary, this set screw when the blade plug is in, because again, obviously we have 2 set screws on the emitter holding it, but we can turn it in just until you feel a little bit of resistance. Okay. This is definitely my favorite of all the different hilt designs. This attracts me the most. This and the Luke Hero. Gonna miss this one.